Hi, I'm Kent. While I have been slowly rebuilding my kiln, I've also been making a few pots along the way. I have several here that have been sitting for a while as I've been having to debug my kiln. But now that my kiln's working, I actually want to do a bisque fire. I have a bunch of pots here. I'm guessing the kiln's still going to be rather empty even though I have a bunch of pots, at least a bunch of pots for me. So let's go ahead and load the kiln up. So my previous kiln, I would fire my bisque to 06. I'm going to do that in this kiln as well. I could actually stack all the pots much tighter, but I'm actually going to load this like a glaze firing. So I'm going to spread the pots out as if they were glazed so I can see what it would look like and how many pots I can get in there. So most of my pots are these really tiny ones. Part of the reason I was making pots this small was my old kiln was so tiny. I could only get 4 of those in my old kiln. Here, I think I have more space. One of my other motivations for getting this kiln was actually to be able to make bigger pots. I've been putting succulents in these, and the little ones, they're okay, but some of them are outgrowing. So having some larger pots will be nice. To do that, though, I'll need to make some new slip casting molds. Okay, I'm sure I could get more pots in here, but I have plenty of space, and I don't have that many more pots, so I'm just going to leave that level as is. Next level is put in the rest of the pots. Alright, that's all the pots I have that are bone dry. I could probably fit in twice as many pots as what I just did. I do have some more pots that I have bisque fired in my old kiln, so when I go to glaze all these, I probably will actually have a full kiln load. Alright, we'll close this up, and then I will use my fancy web interface to start a Cone 06 program. That should fire basically the rest of the day, and then tonight it'll turn off and it'll cool down, so tomorrow I should be able to open it back up and see how I did. I don't actually have any Cone 06 cones to test firing. Given that this went okay for the glaze firing, my test glaze firing with the cones I think it'll do okay for the bisque firing as well. Cone 06 is also on the little bit of the lower end, so if I overshoot it should be okay, but we will see. So here is my bisque firing to Cone 06. This is actually a medium firing, so this last ramp period here is the medium speed. That's coming from the Orton web pages. So we'll go ahead and start this program. Alright, and it's going. It'll gradually ramp up and get up temperature. One thing to note real quick while I'm here is that this last part here is just so that the program can graph. The program actually ends when it gets up to the top. I could have a gradual cool down, but I don't think it's needed for my bisque firings. It's the next morning. The kiln software showed that the firing ran successfully and the kiln is cooled down now. Let's open it up and see how the bisque firing did. These look pretty good. So for comparison, here is a bisque fire from my old kiln, and here's the new kiln. And they look basically the same to me. Clay bodies look exactly the same. Alright, and these all look good as well. It looks like a successful bisque firing. Great, so I just pulled out 20 pots out of that bisque fire. I'm sure I could have packed that much more densely, but I didn't have any more ready to go. I have about another 20 that have been sitting here for a while that I bisque fired in my old kiln. So it means I have about 40 pots that are ready to be glazed. That's exciting. I haven't glazed pots for a while. Next up, we'll be glazing some of these pots then, and I will then fire them for the first time in my new kiln. Thanks for following along on my kiln rebuild. Hopefully now I can actually get back into the pottery part of this. If you have any questions, please leave them below. Thanks.